Water. Nearly 3/4 of the world is covered by water. The Pacific Ocean has a larger surface area than all the dry land on Earth. Unfortunately, this water itself is no good for drinking. It is too salty. However, the water that is evaporated from it by the heat of the sun is not too salty. Tiny drops of fresh water mix with the air and sometimes become clouds in the sky. If the water in the clouds grows too heavy, it falls to earth again. About 4/5 goes directly back into the sea. But if the rain falls on land, the fresh water can be used by the living things there. Most of it, however, either returns to the sea in rivers or disappears underground. There are several different sources of drinking water. In some areas, dams prevent rivers from returning rainwater to the sea. Reservoirs are formed to provide drinking water all year round. In other places, rainwater drains through the earth's surface and collects in lakes or rivers underneath. Some water under the Sahara Desert in North Africa has lain there for 25,000 years. Other underground water does not lie in one place, but moves slowly downhill over hard rock. Water like this is used by people at oases, wells, and boreholes all over the world. However, the largest source of fresh water has never been used at all. About 90% of all fresh water in the world is in Antarctica. It is unusable because it is remote and is in the form of ice and snow. When the word water is mentioned, nearly everybody first thinks of water for drinking. But actually, in some countries, people drink only a small percentage of the water they use. In the UK, for example, each person uses an average of about 180 liters of water per day. Of that, only about 3% is used for cooking and drinking. People use most of the rest for washing dishes, clothes, and themselves, and in the toilet. In industry, water is used for a variety of purposes. It takes 1 kilo of water to make 2 kilos of bread, 20 tons of water to make 1 ton of petrol, and 200 tons of water to make 1 ton of steel. It is used in the making of electricity and at atomic power stations. Of course, it is also used worldwide in the cultivation and irrigation of crops. So water now has a variety of uses. As the population of the world grows, the demand for water will increase too. It may become even more precious than it is today. Conservation, an urgent need. Millions of animal and plant species face extinction. Scientists still do not know exactly how many animal and plant species exist on our planet. They guess that there may be between 5 million and 30 million. Only 1.7 million of them have been identified and described. In January 1989, the director of a famous botanical garden in the USA predicted that during the next 30 years, man will cause an extinction of an average of 100 animal and plant species every day. This is a yearly average of about 36,500 species. If extinctions continue at this rate, there may be almost no animals or plants on this planet by the year 2200 AD. How could this happen? There are several reasons for this. One is that man often hunts and fishes too efficiently nowadays. For example, fishermen hunt whales from factory ships, and hunters of elephants and rhinoceroses have even used helicopters and machine guns. As a result, these animals are all in danger of disappearing. Another reason is pollution of the environment. Animals need a clean environment, but we have been polluting the rivers, seas, and land for over 150 years. However, the main cause of these extinctions is deforestation in the tropics. Tropical forests cover only 7% of the Earth's surface, but they are the home of between 50 and 85% of the Earth's species. Many tropical countries are cutting down their forests very quickly. They are doing this in order to create more land for agriculture. They also need the wood for fuel and for building. However, they are killing trees and plants, and at the same time destroying the homes of many animals. This is a big problem in South America, in parts of Africa, and in some Asian countries, such as the Philippines. Sometimes man means to do something good, but he damages his environment by mistake. An example of this comes from South America. There used to be a bird which was found in only one place in the world, near a lake in Guatemala. One day, scientists decided to introduce a new species of fish into the lake as food for humans. The new fish ate the bird's food sources, and by 1987, these birds had all been made extinct. It's not just the elephants. Most people know that elephants, tigers, and rhinoceroses are endangered. However, millions of small and little-known species are also threatened with extinction. Insects and plants are especially vulnerable as their forest homes are destroyed. We must not forget that each of these species depends on many others for its survival. When one disappears, others may lose an important source of food. Moreover, man can learn from plants and insects and use them to improve his own life on this planet. Wild plants, for example, contain substances that can be used to make medicines as well as natural fertilizers and pesticides. Is there a solution? What can be done about this problem? We cannot reintroduce the species which have already disappeared. However, it may not be too late to start protecting some of the creatures and plants which are still with us, but which are endangered. All over the world, conservation is an urgent need. Air travel in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's first airplane was a Douglas DC-3. This was given to King Abdulaziz in 1945 by the American President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Two more DC-3s soon joined the first. These three planes formed the first Saudi fleet, which was used by the royal family and by government officials. King Abdulaziz immediately realized the advantages of air travel and helped to establish Saudi Arabian Airlines in 1946. The new airline started with a fleet of 5 24-seat DC-3s on 14th of March 1947. On that day, a DC-3 took off from Jeddah for Riyadh, Hofuf, and Dhahran. The 1,200-kilometer trip took 4.5 hours. The same journey by land took about 2 months at that time. Jeddah was the airline's headquarters, and until 1954, only Riyadh, Hofuf, and Dhahran, Taif, and Medina received regular flights. However, more planes were acquired, more airfields were built, and services were continually expanded. By the end of 1956, Ha'il, Burayda, Khamis Musheit, Najran, Yanbur, Wedja, Tabuk, and Sakaka had become part of the network. In December 1961, Saudi Arabian Airlines became the first airline in the Middle East to acquire jet airplanes for commercial service. These were Boeing 727Bs. They began the first jet service from Jeddah to Riyadh and Dhahran in March 1962. They reduced the flight time between Jeddah and Riyadh from 2 hours 20 minutes to 1 hour and 20 minutes. More jet aircrafts were added to the fleet over the next 10 years. And more destinations were added to the network. By 1975, Saudia, the name had been changed on 1 April 1972, was serving 20 domestic destinations, 14 of these by jet. TriStar wide-body jets were introduced to the domestic routes in August 1975. This service was expanded in 1981 to include the use of the wide-bodied Airbus, and again in 1985 with the 424-seat Boeing 747-300. Saudia now has more than 100 planes of 5 different types. However, to see exactly how big Saudia's domestic air travel business has become, you have to look at the number of passengers it handles. For example, did you know that Riyadh Airport was already handling 5 million domestic passengers per year before the opening of King Khalid International Airport in 1984? In July 1985, airfares in Kingdom were reduced by 25%. This resulted in a huge increase in air travel in the country. Nowadays, the routes from Jeddah and Dhahran to Riyadh each carry well over 1 million passengers a year. Air travel in Saudi Arabia has come a long way since 1945. The holy month of Ramadan. Islam is based on 5 beliefs. These are called the 5 pillars of Islam. The first belief is that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his messenger. The second is that a Muslim must pray 5 times a day at certain times. And the third is that a Muslim must give a percentage of his savings to the poor. The fourth is the fasting of Ramadan. The fifth is that all Muslims who are able should perform al-Hajj, pilgrimage, at least once in their life. Ramadan is the 9th month in the Islamic calendar. All adult Muslims must fast during the daylight hours. They are not allowed to eat or drink between dawn and sunset for the whole month. Fasting strengthens a person by increasing his self-control. Fasting also helps a Muslim to remember Allah and his obedience to him. During Ramadan, the pain of hunger is shared by everyone. In this way, everyone is equal in Allah's eyes. Some people, children for example, are excused from fasting. Some may be too old or too ill. Others are on journeys. Women who are expecting or nursing a baby cannot fast at that time either. However, all those who are able must complete their fast later. Ramadan customs are very special. Many Muslims prefer to change working hours so that they can focus on the Islamic duties of the holy month. At sunset, a cannon goes off and people break their fast with dates and water. Then they go to the mosque for the sunset prayers, Maghrib. The exact time of sunset is very important, of course. There is a special night known as Laylatul Qadr. No one knows exactly which night it is, but it is definitely one of the last 10 nights of the month. Around this time, Muslims try to stay awake all night and perform special prayers. Immediately after the last day of Ramadan, there is a celebration called Eid al-Fitr. Muslims all over the world celebrate this holiday. During Eid, Muslim children wear new clothes and receive gifts. Families everywhere enjoy themselves with friends and relatives. They thank Allah for His great blessings in revealing the Quran during the holy month of Ramadan. Earth planet. Earth's place in space. The Sun has 9 planets. The 4 planets that are nearest to it have solid surfaces. Earth is the third of these inner planets. Most of the outer planets are balls of gases, so their surfaces are not solid. Some statistics. Earth is about twice as big as Mars. Its diameter is about 12,700 kilometers. There are approximately 365 days in a year on Earth. That is the time it takes to make a complete orbit of the Sun. There are 24 hours in a day. This is the time it takes to spin once around its own axis, the atmosphere. Earth has an atmosphere around it. Its gases consist of about 78% nitrogen and 21% oxygen. Some of the other planets have atmosphere. However, their gases are not the same as Earth's. They do not contain water vapor either. The Earth's axis is not vertical. It is tilted at an angle of about 23 degrees. As it goes round the Sun, different parts become closer to it. For this reason, the Earth has seasons. Summer is in the hemisphere that is nearer to the Sun. Winter is the one that is farther away. Spring and autumn occur between these times. The average temperature is 12 degrees centigrade. Compared with the size of the Earth, the atmosphere is as thin as an apple skin. Water. On Earth's surface, water is found in two more forms. As solid ice, it is found mostly near the North Pole and South Pole. Elsewhere, it is liquid. In rain, streams, rivers, and most lakes, it is fresh water. In the sea, it is salt water. Inside Earth. The Earth's hard surface looks stationary, but it is not. It moves very slowly because the inside of the Earth is very hot. This surface, sometimes called the Earth's crust, lies on rock, but the heat from the center of the Earth sometimes melts this rock. Thus the crust floats on liquid rock. Life on Earth. Earth is unique. It is the only known planet that has got life on it. Life cannot exist on any of the other planets in our solar system. Their atmospheres, temperatures, or lack of water make life impossible. This is why we must care for our planet. It is the only place where we can live. Arab aid. What is Arab aid? The countries around the Arabian Gulf are very rich. The oil beneath the sands has made them wealthy, and they have used this wealth to become important modern states. They have built industries and improved agriculture. They have given their own citizens a very high standard of living, but they have also given financial help to poorer parts of the world. This financial help is what we call Arab aid. Not many people know that these countries give or lend enormous amounts of money to poorer countries. For example, in 1976, Saudi Arabia gave or lent between $500 and $800 for every Saudi man, woman, and child. Money that is not given as a gift is given as a loan. Such loans are made easy, and borrowers often have up to 50 years to repay. Other Gulf states which give or lend to poorer countries are Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and the UAE. Where does this aid go? It goes to Arab and non-Arab countries. It goes to Muslim and non-Muslim countries. It goes to Africa, Asia, South America, and Southern Europe. In fact, it goes to countries all over the world. How is it used? It is used to help poorer countries develop themselves. Here are some examples. Bridges have been built in Tunisia and Taiwan using Arab aid. The 1.4-mile Chinese-Saudi Friendship Bridge has served 80% of the population of Taiwan since 1990. Dams have been built with Arab aid in a dozen developing countries. These countries include Cameroon, India, Ghana, and Mali. Hospitals, hotels, and homes have been built in Egypt, Niger, Mali, Syria, Tunisia, and Yemen. Irrigation canals have been dug in Bangladesh, Sudan, and Senegal with Saudi and Kuwaiti money. Mines have been expanded in Jordan and Morocco. Road and railways have been constructed in the Congo, Pakistan, Rwanda, and Spain. Sugar factories have been built in Afghanistan and Tanzania. Water has been piped into homes in Cairo, Damascus, and Sana'a with help from Arabia. Also, Saudi Arabia has lent Jordan $120 million to improve the water supply in Amman. Why is Arab aid given? Of course, the Gulf states see their aid as a way of making friends in the Third World. But Arab aid is also the result of the religious duty called zakat, in English, almsgiving, giving to those who have less than we do. Adapted from an article in the Aramco World magazine, November-December 1979.